Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. The next video on this, which is my Double Eagle Noveske N4 NSR-SD. I kind of know the SD part, but the NSR-SD is getting kind of confusing. Anyway, I did the unboxing of this. In this video, what I'm actually going to do is just do the initial part of the build on this. Obviously, I haven't kind of fully planned out exactly what it's going to be yet, but I don't want to leave it looking like this with no sight on it, no attachments. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a video now and I'm going to basically put this as a build out so you guys can see kind of what it's going to look like. And that means that I can start playing around with it with an actual sight on it as opposed to leaving it like this. And there may be a few things that change, but we'll see that as it goes. Then what I'm going to do is just finish this up and I will shoot it and we'll just get an idea of its chronograph reading and what it is. After this video, I'm then going to do a paint job on this. I think I'm going to do something similar to what I did with my MTW 308, kind of like a tan base color with like some kind of stripes on it, that along that kind of line. That's kind of my plan. So we'll see if that comes out good, but that's gonna be the next video. So in this video, I've got a whole range of goodies, which I'm gonna be kind of like putting on here. And I'm gonna take you through kind of what I'm doing, why I'm putting it on. If you have any questions during the video, definitely put them down in the comments, or if you're in the live chat right now, because we premiere every single one of these videos, then you can write the questions to me there. But I really like the ergonomics of this. Like the more I play around with it, the more I feel it. I feel like the feel of it. It just feels really, really nice. It's got that kind of Noveske styling to it, which I like a lot. I really like the width of this handrail. It's just a lot more kind of like comfortable to grab, I think, than the standard N4. There are some things that are annoying, no ambi controls, which kind of would be nice, but I'm just kind of used to that now on a few of the MCXs that I've been using. I will be doing a video as well on the internal upgrades on this, so I'm planning that out now, but it'll probably be a 4UAD hot rubber in there. It'll be a Prometheus barrel. I think I can go up to about 300 mil. I was looking at that just before the video, and I was going to grab an old barrel that I have, well, not an old one, but one I haven't used. And I was like, let's not rush it. Let's do it properly. So I'm going to do a kind of internal upgrades. The trigger's not bad, as I said in the last video, but that might be something that I want to play with and change. So we'll watch that as well. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is start off with what we're going to do is a sight. So for this one, I've decided to go for a sight that actually I just haven't got on any of my replicas right now. I actually had it for a little bit on the WellPro KS1, the Cat KS1. I put it on there as a stopgap, but it doesn't fit that. It's black. I really want a tan like optic if I'm going to continue to use that. Still unsure whether I am, but I thought actually this works quite well on this. I always like using a riser on my optics. I think mainly because I use Face Pro. I play airsoft with it. If I wasn't using like full face protection, I don't know if I'd necessarily need it as much. But I do generally want to have something which is like 1/2 inch to 1 inch in terms of riser. I've got right here an option is the PTS Unity Tactical. Well, their PTS is like, you know, licensed copy of the Unity Tactical. And then I have this, which is like, I think it's a Monstrum. Pretty standard, just like riser. I actually kind of like the look of the Monstrum one on it, even though it's not really as like, you know, real steel looking. Obviously this has for airsoft use written underneath, so don't use this. You can use the sight real steel wise, but you can't use the, I don't know, maybe I'll go with the Unity Tactical just because I know people are going to be like, you should have used the Unity Tactical if I don't. So I'm going to place this on here first. We'll make sure that this actually fits. And that's not moving around. It's not actually that tight, so I might tighten it up a little bit. Push this guy in here. I do really like these Holosun sights. They're micro red dots, or the smaller ones. I'm not like the biggest fan of. Just because for me, like the actual like how easy it is to look down, it's a bit harder. Just finding the actual reticle quickly. But these 510Cs I really like. I think they're great. Put it on the wrong one. So I'm going to put it right at the front of this. And see how that kind of ends up looking. I'll put this guy, we need to loosen this a little bit. Bigger piece. But I mean, the thing with this is it comes with a tracer in it. And so it's not for me going to be like a long distance shooter. I'm kind of thinking of this as like a, not a CQB gun, but like more of that style than being a DMR platform, even though it isn't the shortest. I think that looks good. Let's just go a bit further forward on it. I do like having my optics pretty far forward, I think, compared to some people. Just put that on. Back slightly. Yeah, so that's pretty good for me. I don't know how you guys think that looks, but for me, just in terms of the actual, I mean, how it looks is important, but probably much more important than that, or definitely much more important of that, is like the function of it. Like when I bring it up to my face and I have both of my eyes open, like how close is it to being, how easy is it to see? Do I have to like kind of adjust my face after I've got it up there? Because that's obviously something I'm not wanting to do. Like the whole point of it is to be able to shoot quickly and accurately. And so that I think is pretty great. So the reticle on this, if you just want to have a look, is that, where is he? There he is. So you can see it's kind of a nice, like very clear red dot reticle with like a, I don't know, it's like a 34 MOA circle around it with a 1 MOA dot. Something like that. It doesn't tell me on the side of what it is, but I've also got this. Someone commented on this recently. This is actually a lens protector for this. And that's actually coming a bit loose, it looks like. But these are great, these lens protectors. I got this one. I'm trying to think who the actual like company that makes them are called. But this is made, I got this, sorry, from JK Army. And I think they're expensive. From what I remember, I was like, okay, this is quite an expensive piece. It looks like that could eventually break. It's fine for now, but that might be something I want to get a replacement piece from. Just looks like there's a bit of a seam there that's starting to go. But yeah, these are fantastic. If you're paying for a real still sight like this, I'd say this is actually, it's expensive, but in terms of like what it is, it's quite an affordable real still sight. Okay, so that is my red dot on there right now, which I think makes it look a lot cooler already. I'm going to put that to one side. Next, what I'm going to do is actually put the stock on, which is going to be the next main piece. This stock that comes with it is nice. It's fine. It's not bad quality at all. It's got a nice rubber pad on the back of it. I just don't necessarily like the shape of it and how short that piece is. I quite like having a bit of a longer just piece to sink in the bottom of my shoulder. So that's kind of where I go with this. So I'm going to put this on here. I've already done my hack here where I put the sticky Velcro on the inside. One sec, my kids just walked in. Sorry, I'm back. My little kid just walked in. I've also got Charlie back for you guys. So as I was saying, on my stocks, whenever I do them, I always take you can get the strips of Velcro with female and male sides sticky back, so they'll stick to certain things. I'll take the female side, so like the soft part. I'll take a strip, I'll run it the entire way down, and then I'll just stick it. And what that does is it just provides that buffer. So it just makes the stock a lot tighter. I don't move my stock in terms of locations of it very often. I actually normally keep it pretty much in the same spot once I find where I like it, which actually seems to be getting shorter and shorter. Like I used to have it quite long. I just ripped my finger. I used to have it quite long, and now I just like having it a lot shorter than I used to. But you can see there how much harder it is now to push down. That is okay. I seem to have got that stuck there now. So I need to pull this out. Let's get it down further. So this is a tight stock tube. I mean, it's a really good thing to have, and that's probably why there wasn't that much movement in that one. I'll have that a little bit shorter than that for me. That's normally, for me, about where I'll have it. Yeah, and that feels pretty good. So that's kind of, maybe I'd have it even a bit shorter than that. Let's go with one shorter. Yeah, I'll keep it like that. So that's kind of where my stock's going to go. I can move that. It's just, it's going to take more effort to do it, but there is literally no wobble in that. The upper and the lower on this thing as well is solid. Like there is no movement there as well. So right now, there's just no give at all on that, which is great. So that is a Magpul CTR stock. You can get those for about $50, $60. That's a real steel one. I like these stocks a lot, mainly because it's got a QD release sling point there. One thing that I did realize when I got this, and I knew it from the N4, which I have before, is that it doesn't have any QD sling points on here. So with that, what I ended up doing was going and getting, or I actually just kind of have a few of these lying around because for most of my replicas, I like having this specific kind of QD. You could use it technically if you want as a hook and have it like that, but this basically just attaches onto the Picatinny rail on the top, gives you an angled little QD point so that, for instance, on this sling here, I can just input that in there, and then that basically allows me to have my 2-point sling position, and then I can also have a 1-point later if that's what I want. So what I'm going to do is I always like having it around here, which is that kind of high point of the body. What I've just realized with this one is that I can do that. With this, it always seems like these little rail segments are slightly higher. Just getting them lined, like getting it to sit on that piece or the one right here is never going to work. I always have to shift it. I like having it tight into the body. I know some people like having their sling points like pretty far up, or in a location that's like further up the actual rail of the replica. For me, this is what I like. So I go with this, but I think, again, it's like people, you know your play style, you know what you like using or like how you like to play. And I'll generally kind of very much stick to having as much like a maneuverability or like wieldiness of it as possible, less as so the like sturdy. I know people who use these on real steel firearms, they may want to almost use it as a piece of like support. You know, you can kind of brace the gun with that sling in your arm and your shoulder. With me, because it's airsoft and it doesn't have that much recoil in comparison, it's a lot nicer just to almost have 2 points here, which are a lot closer, which gives me that ability to like whip it around. So that's there, that's nice, that's out of the way. So that's not going to get in the way of my hand. The sling is just going to sit right there, and then at the moment it's going to be here. Normally I like to have a sling point right there at the base. So something I could do on this one is buy a replacement butt plate and put that in. It's what I've done actually, I think, on the N4. So what I might do is take that off the N4 and then switch it to the N4 what is it? DRS-SD? Why do I keep getting this so confused? Like what it's actually called. The N4 SRD. This is the N4 NSR-SD. The N4 NSR-SD. Yes, Charlie, you can look at me like that saying, what is this guy doing and what's he talking about? So that's going to be where this is going to be at the moment. Next things I'm going to do is actually going to be putting a different grip on here. Now, this is like a copy of a Magpul. It's just a cheaper version. I do like these K2 Plus, K2 style grips. I may go back to this and keep something like this, but a real steel one. But right now, what actually I was thinking I'm going to do is probably put this on here, which is a like a very vertical style grip, because I think it could make it just feel a lot more aggressive and nice. I'm actually printing up a different grip right now, which I'm going to use. So I'm working on that, but I will possibly use that one. I'll possibly use one of these, but for right now, I'm going to change it out so you guys can see my process. I like big grips and I like vertical grips. It's kind of where my build like head goes to. I don't know. I may need to put a grub screw into this grip. But a lot of this is like the fun of airsoft for me. You know, like it's like, oh, you get a new toy. It's like car guys, you know, where they get a new car, or, you know, they buy an old car and they're like, okay, well, I want to put this part on it, or I want to put this upgrade in there. Okay, so I don't need to, this does not have any spring coming out of the actual bottom of it. So it does, however, have a bolt or a nut, which I just almost dropped on the floor. This one, a lot of them will have like a spring for the fire selector and for the retaining pin. This one doesn't have that, so I don't need to worry, because these are meant for real steel, and if it was there, I'd have to just get a grub screw and block that little entrance there. This should go on there quite nicely, and I think it looks kind of cool. As I said, I'm going to spray paint this, so I don't really care as much about, you know, generally the look of it. It's more the ergonomics of like how it actually sits. I'll always use the same screw, if I can, that comes out of the replica, because you know that that's going to fit the threads going in. As opposed to a lot of the time you'll buy these real steel grips, and the real steel grip will, this isn't real steel, this is 3D printed, but you'll buy a real steel grip, it'll come with like a very professional nice bolt on it, and that is meant for like real steel spec, and sometimes these replicas will take those, but a lot of the time there's some kind of discrepancy or difference, and it's worth just like not doing that and putting on the actual screw that was made and put in there by the manufacturer. I just like the angle of that a lot more now. I don't know what your thoughts are, but that's basically straight now, and it just feels like when I put that in my shoulder, like it's just like I'm hooking it a lot nicer there than it was previously. So already I think this is looking way, way better. Next, what we're going to do is put a bad lever on here. So as I said, the one thing with this, which I'm not the biggest, like, I like it a lot, it's very, very cool, but it doesn't have ambidextrous controls. So we don't have ambidextrous fire selector, and we don't have an ambidextrous bolt release. What I've done on my Mark 18s and with other replicas in the past, which I'm going to do with this, is put one of these on. They're called like a bad lever. I think it was originally designed by Magpul. This is by PMM. So I'm not entirely sure what the full name of the company is if it's not PMM. But what it's going to do, and I'll demonstrate it as I install it, but it's going to allow me to have basically a secondary bolt release in the trigger guard. So it means that I don't necessarily have to like reach over, and I can just release the bolt after reloading with one hand, which I like. I definitely find that I will tend to do that more. Okay, so I'm actually gonna see, can I squeeze it under here? Okay, so normally you can either squeeze it under, or what I'm gonna have to do on this one is basically just separate the upper and the lower, place this guy here, this guy goes on top like this, and we're just gonna do this up slowly. Okay, and then this one here. So that's just kind of sandwiching around the bolt release there. and then putting this, it's going to line up and go in. It's sandwiching that bolt release and then putting this little lever, which is attached straight down and into this little trigger guard area, trigger well inside the trigger guard. So by just kind of using my index finger, it's going to allow me to release the bolt. And I'll demonstrate that for you in 1 second. So everything's basically the same. There's not a huge amount of like extra weight or change on here, which would kind of annoy me. But now I basically just have this guy right here. And it means that when I have the bolt held back, instead of having to go around and push this, I can still do that because I still have that paddle there. But instead of having to do that, I can just reach from my trigger over to here, tap that, bolt closes, and then I'm good to go. And then the other thing I can do as well is if I want to just hold the bolt back, I can just move my finger, my index finger out to the right. That's going to hook it in. I'm then able to release it. But this now means that it's out the way of my trigger or my like finger getting in the way of it. But it means that I've just got like a little button here now, which I can kind of control the bolt release. And I don't need to put it on my MCXs or anything which has that other lever here. Any of the other like the KS1, for instance, which has got the ambi bolt release. But when I don't have it in a kind of older-ish design like this, general or more traditional design, I like having it there. So that now has put that bad lever right there. Next, what we're going to do is put on my optics, sorry, my flashlight and laser. Now, this isn't like necessarily a big name brand real steel thing, but I love these. I have to say, I've done a video on them. They have sent me some for free. This one I bought myself, but this is the company Votatu. Very affordable. They're on Amazon, but this is one of their lights that actually, just thinking if that would fit on there, probably not. One of the lights that they have, and it's just very, very like the ergonomics again is why I like it. It's kind of like designed in a way where it's off to the side here, and I've got two pads right here. I've got my laser, which is the green laser right there, and then I've got a flashlight. And normally I'll like run something like a flashlight in that location, and then I'll put a PEC box on, and it can just get a bit messy or a bit busy. It's probably a better way to describe it. Whereas if I just have one of these on here, and also this thing's pretty fat on this end. If I just have one of these on here, it means that my hand can do everything just by being in that location. I quite want to keep this further back, weirdly. I know it's not good to have it further back because it is going to kind of block the flashlight. You can see there, it's going to hit the edge of this suppressor. But I actually quite want just to be able to have like a kind of shorter grip on this. I'm going to quickly do this up. We'll have a look at what the location is like. Just tighten that up slightly. But normally I would kind of try and have it as far forward as possible, but this is a longer rail. It's not a long rail, but it's a longer rail. How's that not tightening? This isn't biting in on this. Maybe it stripped it. Looks like I might have stripped that screw slightly. I might just need a longer screw, but it kind of looks a little bit like there's some metal fragments coming out. So that's something to bear in mind, guys, is that's the first time I've had any issue with one of these. It does look like that is slightly stripped. I'll play around with that after. But it's actually holding on the other screw fine. But this is now... like, I've got now the ability to use that. What I do normally like doing is having some kind of support under here. So my kind of final thing that I'm going to do is put either this Magpul BCM like hand stop here, which I think again could look pretty cool, or I go with something I've 3D printed, which is just larger. I don't know, let me know which one you'd prefer. I think I'm going to go with the BCM hand stop for now. And we can work out, again, a lot of it for me on hand stops is ergonomics. It's like, where is it going to sit? Because I need it to sit in a position where it's comfortable and my thumb is going to rest on that. On the switch for the light and the laser. BCM is obviously a very good, well-respected real steel company. So this is a real one of theirs. Don't think, again, this is that expensive. And then we have an idea now of just... might actually want that a bit further forward. Yeah, I think that might be good. So let's go with that. Tighten this one first. Oh, no. Get the rotation. This does fit nicely on this. The issue that I've just found is that because this suppressor base is there with the SD, I can't actually get that M-lock piece in far enough. So I'm going to have to move it further back, which is probably something you guys should be aware of for if you're going to get one of these. Although I can, let's see if I loosen the suppressor, because I think it's just going to be the rotation of getting it in. Okay, so if I loosen the suppressor, I can do it. So let's just see if the actual screw, when it's coming out the M-lock piece, which it shouldn't come out too far, will be an issue. I think that should be fine. But I've had to loosen the suppressor there slightly to actually get the M-lock down far enough to allow it to rotate and then hook in. Yeah, it's on there fine. Okay. I actually kind of want to bring this further back. Just see what this feels like with this inside out. Yeah, I mean, it feels kind of good there, but it's just like my thumb needs to like have a little bit further up. So what I might end up doing is just bringing that a little bit further back. You know what? I'm going to leave it for now. And then that means I've got it there. And then if I need to use the laser, I've got that option to just reach forward, touch it on, touch it off. And I normally like a bit of a more vertical like actual like proper little handle on here, which I haven't got with this one. So is that all we're going to do today? I think that is all we're going to do. So this is basically now, we're going to leave that out. We're going to put this over here. That is now what this thing is looking like. And I think it looks a lot better. I don't know. I don't think it could have looked worse, to be honest, because it's a very cool looking replica, but it hadn't got anything on it. Now we've actually got something sitting on it that's pretty cool. So that is right now the status of, or the current state of my Double Eagle Noveske NSR-SD, sorry, Double Eagle Noveske N4 NSR-SD. It feels a lot heavier now that I've got all this stuff on it. It's definitely a heavier replica than it was before, obviously with all the attachments on it, but it's not chunky, but it's not lightweight like it kind of felt when I first got it. So that's another thing. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon on the next video. Have a great day wherever you are, and let me know what you want to see next. But tune in very soon to see a paint job on this bad boy, and hopefully it will turn up looking even better. Bye-bye.